All right, everybody, great day to you. Sitting down today with Sham Silva. She's going to work with us today and give us some more additional skills at being a great leader. You know, we're all about essential skills, so let's get started. Sham, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got in the field of this brain diversity?
Sure, Glenn. Firstly, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to be in a space, information sharing with like-minded people. So thanks for having me. So I am a trainer, coach, and consultant on leadership and work effectiveness, and I've been doing this for about 15 years. And so basically, I focus on helping leaders better understand the brain-mind connection and how it impacts how they think, how they lead, and basically how they make decisions. All right?
Okay.
Yeah, and my recent work focuses on brain diversity in the workplace.
Okay, tell me a little bit more about brain diversity. Give us kind of a definition of the topic of brain diversity.
Right. So as you must already know, Glenn, just looking at even LinkedIn posts and articles and news and things like that, the topic of diversity in itself is gaining a lot of traction in workplaces, in societies, and even families and things like that. And while it is helpful to know that we are different because we look different or we speak differently or we come from different cultural backgrounds, there is also a very essential element of understanding that we are different also because we're biologically different, because our brains are wired differently. And so we are actually in a meeting of about 20 people. It's good to recognize that how our brains are wired could be different from how their brains are wired. And that creates an atmosphere or an environment of brain diversity. Does that help?
Okay. Yeah, that helps because then that makes me start to think about neuroscience. Is brain diversity and neuroscience, are they at all related?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. Brain diversity has a lot to do with neuroscience, right? So neuroscience, for listeners, it's basically the science of the brain, okay? And even if we look at neuroscience and how brain research and new brain discoveries have evolved over the decades, we know that even if there is some form of evolution in terms of brain discovery or how our brains work, how our brains function, we still don't know everything about the brain. It's just such a complex organ that sits between our two ears. And so an example, Glenn, would be decades ago, neuroscience, which is again brain science, what it has told us was that our brains, our adult human brain, is not able to produce new brain cells. Okay, so brain cells are neurons. So they told us this a few decades ago, but today we know that that is not true. We know that our adult brain is capable of producing new neurons and new brain cells, and there are lots of research and it's being done around this. Do we have time? Can I share a couple of research discoveries with you again on this?
Yes, I was going to ask you to, because that's really important for the leadership to really understand. So share some research with us. That'd be great.
Yeah. So I'll share two purely scientific researches that's been done before talking specifically as to how that will impact leadership, okay?
Okay.
So for one, neuroscientists did a research on how music impacts mice, all right? So they would play a musical track, and then they would look into the brains of mice to identify which areas of the brain would be activated when the mice listen to music, okay? That was the main idea behind the research, but there was an accidental discovery that came along with it, because every time the researchers would play a track, music, they would have a period of silence before playing the next track. And what they discovered was, during that period of silence, the mice's hippocampus, which is the part of the brain responsible for learning and long-term memory, So what basically happens is the hippocampus of the mice becomes heightened in activity when there was silence between music. Okay?
Oh, okay.
It's interesting, right? Because they were trying to identify how music impacted mice, and what they identified was how silence impacted mice. And I usually use this research as an example when I train leaders in wellness, in mental health, because it really helps to know that silence can actually help your brain become more activated, become more alive. Right? So that's one.
Okay.
Tell me.
I was gonna say, before we go to the next one, or I don't mean to cut you off, but I got kind of fired up about that, because I'm starting to think that when we talk to leaders about time management issues, I mean, that's a big thing. And what I always try to emphasize, you need to take a break. And I like that research because it points back, you need to take a break, and you need to get silent. Okay, taking a break does not necessarily mean going for a jog. It just means silence. If it's 3, 4, 5 minutes, that research seems to back that up, which is great. Okay, all right.
Yeah. Okay. So the next research that I talk about is, I think, and I want to know if you've heard of this, right? Have you heard about the research done on London cab drivers?
No.
Okay. So there was also a Netflix documentary on this, where they did a research. It's University in London did a research on London cab drivers. Now, London cab drivers have to go through an intense assessment known as the knowledge. It's a test. It's called the knowledge, and they have to pass this test before they are able to, drive cabs in London.
Okay.
But the test is so grueling, it's so intense, that they have to memorize literally tens and thousands of routes and streets and landmarks, and usually people complete it within a 4-year period before becoming a cab driver, right?
Wow, okay.
It's crazy intense. And so somebody decided to do a research on it, and what they found out was that within that 4 years, the size of the cab driver's hippocampus, again, we're talking about the part of the brain that deals with learning, increased, as in the physical size of the hippocampus increased, right?
Okay.
So what that tells us is, the neuroscience research decades ago, which tells us that the brain cannot increase in size, the brain cannot increase in neurons, is not true.
Right. Okay.
Right? And yeah, you look like you have a question.
Well, no, I'm just thinking about the application of that, because what we're saying here is that as you learn more, your brain, the hippocampus grows. Okay, not maybe necessarily the entire brain, but that area of your brain grows. Is that what that's kind of saying?
It's saying that. And a bigger implication is, if you stop learning, right?
Okay.
So for 4 years, you've learned something and you become good at it, your hippocampus grows. Now, if you stop learning, give it some time, what happens is the hippocampus shrinks. So the brain is really plastic. It's really flexible. It increases in size, it decreases in size by, when it makes new connections, and when it weakens those connections, that's what's happening in that complex organ that sits above us.
Okay. This survey, this research that was done, tell us exactly how you think that will work and help leaders, CEOs and executives that are leading a group of people, maybe not a visionary person, but maybe a visionary person. They're leading. How does this help?
Okay. So if we look at neuroscience per se, right, before even we get into brain diversity and all these things, neuroscience, firstly, when we look at lots of researches done by Forbes, New York Times on top leadership traits, right?
Right.
a lot of them, almost all of them, state self-awareness as one of a key leadership trait. Self-awareness. Okay.
Okay.
Now, neuroscience is just like anything else. It's just like another art or another science, right? Now, understanding about how complex neuroscience is and understanding more about how our brains work can help leaders be more aware of how they are motivated, or what drives them, or what threatens them, right? Or how they respond to the world around them. And it also helps them help their teams and their organizations to do the same as well. So yeah, does that help, Glenn?